Hi everybody. So today we are here to give tips on maths paper. Now this is one paper where the best of the students or the otherwise who don't like maths all have good jitters before exam. Everyone has anxiety, right from students to teachers to parents till the exam is over. Everybody has something, how will be the paper, क्या आएगा क्या नहीं आएगा and things like that. कई nightmares आते हैं, कईयों को सपने आते हैं. So there are a lot of things that happen before this paper. Everybody is anxious. Maths paper है, maths paper है. Now the paper is not that difficult in 10th as we make it, and all the more why we lose marks, because of some basic errors which even the best of the students would make. They would not do while they are practicing at home. All these errors happen at exam, and that's why I call sometimes it's all comedy of errors. We can't even think if we could do such a mistake, and we do it and have it. So today we'll discuss you about the tips. Now first of all, be relaxed. Maths is nothing, it's fun. Now even if you don't like it, don't worry, but then take it easy. If you think too much, get anxious, you'll make it more tough for you. So today we'll give you the tips, and by end of that you will feel more relaxed, and you will definitely save some of the mistakes which you could do, and you will increase your marks. And we'll also give you some last moment tips for preparation, what to do, what to leave, and things like that. Now let's get on the very basic of the paper, the night before exam. Ideally you should be relaxing right after 5 p.m. or something, 6. You should relax with light music or some good comedy movie. So that means your brain is very light, it's not be nervous. Go to sleep around 10 or 11 and get up at 6 or 7 in the morning. 8 o'clock, by that you should be ready with your breakfast, and you don't eat too heavy breakfast as it will make you a little drowsy, but then you don't take, that's very bad. So you need to eat something healthy, and don't go empty stomach for a paper. Be relaxed, and you need to sleep well, eat well, healthy food, fruits, it can be juices, anything like that, but you should eat and go. Then you need to reach your examination hall at least by 9:30. 10 o'clock is your entry time. So before that, ideally taking traffic into this consideration, ideal time is you reach 9:30. And before you leave for your examination, so you need to have a simple checklist which can be very crucial at times. So we'll discuss some of the basic things you need to carry for your board exam. The first and the foremost thing which you need to carry and be sure of is your admit card. So you need to get your admit card, get pen at least 3, pencil minimum 2, eraser sharpener minimum 2, scale, compass, protector, and then a highlighter. This all should be there, and a writing board if you want. These are the basic things you need to carry with you. Now let's say you reach 9:30. Now the half an hour you'll see center is gathered with a lot of people. Everybody asking like this, what will happen? Kya hai, kya? So the faces itself tell ki bhai bas something big. So even if you don't want to get anxiety, worried or have some fear, they will make you do that. So please avoid that. Now what you can do 9:30 to 10, and please try this, it will help you in completing your paper. Carry some paper and pen arbitrarily to do some calculations. So what happens, you start doing some 15 into 5, 25 into 7. So what you do, you are getting into the groove of the exam. Your mind has started working. Now if I ask students just to get up at 6 and somebody tells you to run, what do? You'll just fall down. You'll not be able to run. Your body has not warmed up. Similarly, your brain has not warmed up. You need to warm up your brain before the exam. So get into this calculation mood. Write formula once. So at least you have just recapped that. So 9:30 to 10, don't do anything new, but just have a recap of things. Now you see your paper, ideally the first hour your handwriting goes something like this. By the time we reach 2nd hour it goes like this, but by the time we reach 3rd, last hour, it goes hardly you are able to read. Why does this happen? Because you have spent much time, or time required more than required in the first hour itself. Now if you get into this calculation mode or something, your first hour will not be slow. Second, in first hour, ideally try to do question on construction so that you don't You cannot speed up in this part even in second or third hour. So ideally get it done in the first hour itself. Graph, where again you cannot spin, and ogives. So these are, and in my opinion, ideally start from section D, C or D. Now these are 3 and 4 markers which carry a lot of weightage. So ideally, see, 1 mark we have 6 questions, 6 to 10 minutes, not more than that, this is maximum. 2, again 6 questions, arbitrarily if I give 18 to 20 minutes. So this section should not take 35 minutes or more, max, this is the max. Now we have 3 marker 10 questions, 4 marker 8 questions. Now even if I were to give you some 7 minutes, I can give you 1 hour here for 4 marker 8 question, and similarly this is a little smaller, 1 hour. So 2 hours 35 minutes is the max paper, and rest time is for revision. This is maximum. But what happens usually, we don't even find 3 hours sufficient despite 15. Why? Because see, once you start the paper, the first hour I say is slow. Then there are certain questions where we start, we cut, we start, we cut, and we lose out on time. So gradually these are the reasons, and then there are other reasons like some distractions in exam. Be prepared for that. It's an unfamiliar environment when you go there. Your school is a familiar, you go to unfamiliar environment. Second, unfamiliar invigilator. Third, you may have some noises around, you cannot stop that. Some loudspeaker going, some traffic happening, you get distracted. Fourth, now on and off you will see some pencil box falling, and moment you just look back and you come back, the damage has been done. What damage? You were in the middle of the question writing 3 plus 2, just came back and you started writing 3 minus 2. And unknowingly you go and you make errors. So these things happen. Last hour, 20 minutes before, they'll tell you tie up sheets, tie up sheets. And that is again the distraction becomes. So what happens? If you don't number your sheets, again you will have a big problem while tying up. You will tie up wrong things and you will mess up the things. So be prepared, you number your sheets properly. Don't look here and there too much and lose out on marks. And keep things very pretty simple and do exam as a normal atmosphere. What happens, you take too anxiety and the question which you did at home, you start making mistake. It's just because you are not the normal thing. You just be relaxed. Normal paper है, board का paper है, कोई IIT entrance नहीं पूछ रहे. They have to make question paper seeing all the students, so they are not going to give you anything very tough. It's very basic, simple, and golden book is NCERT. Do it thoroughly. Solved examples, unsolved, everything, and stick to the basics. The paper is going to be simple. So you don't have to do too much things. ज़्यादा पढ़ोगे कम number आएंगे. कम पढ़ो ज़्यादा number आएंगे. That is the thing. If you do too many things, end of the time you'll mess up. So be calm and quiet. Don't get into any news कि paper आ रहा है, ये paper से ही आएगा. Don't go for please question papers. These are rumors generally happen. And last year the paper was leaked, so don't expect any leaks this time. Please focus on your basics. Don't go on those rumors कि paper आ रहा है, ये आ रहा है. So don't try to focus. If you have studied, fine enough. Don't run after papers. There's a rumor market which gets on. This is coming. This is not coming in exam. Get your NCERT books right. That's basics. Not only for maths, even for science, social science, do NCERT well, and you will score 90% easily. Okay. Now we'll discuss some errors which even the best of the students make, and they lose marks. So we have 30 questions, and if you lose half of 15, you can lose very easily. So there are many students who say हमारा बहुत अच्छा paper हुआ है, we're going to get 80, maybe 79, 78, and when marks come at 70, 68, and they don't even know. So today we'll discuss those, and in my experience, I've been teaching maths like for 20 odd years. So my experience, I'll tell you where students make mistakes, where they lose marks, the common mistakes, very simple one, where you can't think of, and that is where we happen. So now we'll take you to some of the answer script errors where students have made mistakes, right? Okay. So now we'll discuss some of the answer scripts where we have found students losing marks unnecessarily. Now this is a question of statistics where some mean is asked. Now these are the marks, number of students, mid values, this calculation goes, the student has calculated. Now what? He leaves the answer here. Now he loses out on half mark at least. Why? Because he has not concluded the mean marks. So you need to see the unit. Maybe sometimes it's age out here. So you need to conclude in years. So conclusion is a must. So unnecessarily see for a very simple error, you have got everything right, but just not writing that what is the mean marks and concluding, you lose half mark. Now moving on to another error. This is again a question of stats where this. Now most of the time we have found in examination hall this happens. This formula students tend to write this. So this is, see the error. The correct formula is minus. It's not the plus. So that is again entire question goes wrong for just simple thing. So get your formulas right. You have to be very thorough. At the end students keep practicing question. I say don't practice question. Practice formulas and be thorough. Not even an error of plus or a minus. You cannot afford. Now this is a question where some x and y are missing and it's asked. Now you can see students this is CF. Now what happens when students put this? Now suppose this value is to be substituted, they put it like this, and in a process they will write 30 minus 5, 25 plus x, whereas actually it should have been this. It should be 30 minus 5 and minus x. So just writing like this, again you lose out on marks. So you need to see when you are putting two terms, put a bracket, otherwise you will just lose out marks unnecessarily. Now this is just a question of linear equation where it's a speed. Now most of the student would write let the speed of the boat in still water be x. This is incorrect. Why? This is incorrect. You have to write it's x kilometer per hour. You need to specify the unit. And then you form the equations based on that and say this is the first page and now you are moving on to the other page. See what interesting thing happens. So these are the equation 32u, 36v, and now the student has moved to next page and see what has happened. Just let's go back to the previous page. It was 32u plus 36v. Just flipping the page, this u and v have got interchanged. And now when you solve it, obviously you'll get a wrong answer. One trick for that, when you solve this type of questions, whatever x and y you get, please put it back here and see whether they satisfy the original equation or not. So suppose you have done some calculation error and you get a wrong answer, you can at least come back and see that once you will realize whether your answer is wrong or right. So this is what I said, the pencil box falls, you come back, this simple errors happen, and especially when you turn the pages, this happens. Now this is another question, I've just taken a part of it. This is the equation, says solving, doing all the process, you get answer as 25, you finish it. Again you will lose marks. Why? Because no conclusion. There has to be something about x, it's a word problem. So you need to conclude x, you need to define it first, and then sometimes you may have two values, so one value has to be rejected or maybe both are accepted. So you need to put that thing there. Now this is one of the common errors and one of the common question asked. Height and distance, you are sure to get one question for a 4 marks. Trigo has 12 marks weightage. So generally one comes as a 4 mark, one identity, one or 2 mark small question. Now what happens, see, student would draw this figure, right? Tan 30 degree is equal to y by x, tan 60 degree is equal to 4000 y with this and this. Now this is the wrong way. What is the correct way? You need to first describe the figure. If you don't describe the figure, you will lose marks. So you need to say what is AC, maybe height of tower, DC is the distance from the point of observation, this angle is angle of elevation, this is angle of, and when you write, see, don't write tan 30 like this. Write in triangle BCD, tan 30 degrees this, and similarly in that. So what happens if you straight away do this, get answer, and your copy is going about 90-95%, then they are bound to cut marks. You are not describing figure. Again, a simple error may lose you marks. Now, this is a question which I am talking out here. Now, this is a theorem of basic proportionality. So, what happens? The student has done some question here, got some answer, and he has started it here. Now, what happens if you see this focus? What the student has done, he has done this, now he will be flipping. So in such cases, please cancel, don't do. Ideally, you should be doing like this. The figure here, you solve and see. So while you're writing, you don't need to flip again and again to go back and see whether it is A, B, C. So the front page, the paper is here, and it will come in. So even the examiner's life is easy. He can check what you have written, and even you don't need to flip and go there. So whenever you find such things, you're say ending the answer somewhere here, please cut it and write PTO. And then in geometry questions, figure questions, try to do both on the same page. You will do less errors. And even the examiner will find it easy to check. So now see what happens. You go back, you write. So that is what the error would happen. Probability, most of the students sometimes write 4 by 10, 3 by 10. You will not get marks just for answer. You need to define, you need to explain the favorable number of cases, the total number of cases, define it and then come down. Similarly, as a question of trigonometry. Now you can see it's a very simple question. Now student to do like this, he will not get full marks. Why? He need to mention the formula used too. Otherwise again you will lose out marks. Formula लिखने के number मिले ना मिले ना लिखने के कटते ज़रूर हैं. Keep in mind you have to mention, and when you know, why are you not mentioning it and giving them a chance to cut the marks? Now see, this is again a BPT problem where I said this is a figure. So student has written given to prove, he has started the proof. Again he lose marks because why? He has not written construction. So whenever the construction is there, you need to mention it. Again you lose out marks on that. So small things where you actually lose out marks. Now what we generally give it as a tip for students. So first things first, that answer the questions you know, and ideally I believe 3 to 4 markers. Write the question number properly. This is one major error. Examiners sometimes, have a tough time locating it. Why don't you write? And if it's a OR question you are attempting, the OR part, write 11th OR. So not writing the question numbers, this all will happen in exams. In a question of graph which says solve graphically, always conclude the answer after solving. Mention the scale and axis properly. Sometimes you mention y here and x there. You don't write the scale. Please write the scale you have used. And you draw only using pencil. Don't use pen out here. Read the question and don't jump. Sometimes it may say the sum of the squares of 2 sides of a triangle is equal to the square of the third side. Now just listening, everybody goes to prove Pythagoras, and then he may write prove converse of this result. So it's totally different. So please don't jump. Read question carefully and then go. Always conclude your answers in full sentences while solving a word problem, quadratic, linear, which I have been talking to you. Always write relevant units while solving mensuration question, and also mention rupees with figures in statistics wherever it is there. So it's centimeter square, centimeter cube. If you are doing a volume, don't leave the answer. Please conclude. Learn conversion between centimeter, meter, decimeter, liters, kilometers. That's very important for mensuration, and otherwise you will just simply lose marks. Try to do questions involving figure, what I said, on the same page rather than turning the page for referring the figures. Always check while copying the data into next page. Flip. I said flipping. So you had 30 there, you may write 300. So this is again you lose out. Always draw diagram for geometry and mensuration questions. Don't proceed without drawing. Describe figure of height and distance. We discussed this. If you find any question is wrong, maybe don't leave it unattempted. You need to attempt at least. And don't get stuck in any question. Suppose it's wrong, you don't spend time, because if you spend 15 minutes in a question, maybe you have lost other 3 questions. So please get out of it. It's not happening. Leave it and don't repeat it. And this is important. If you are repeating any question, make sure you cancel the previous one. Otherwise, the law of board says only the first attempt would be checked, not the second, even if it's correct. So make sure that you don't do this without cancelling. And watch good movie on exam eve and relax. That's any way you relax. It's a music, it's comedy, whatever. Bindas. It has to be a bindas thing. Don't study anything exam, but if you before exam, but if you want to do arbitrary calculation, as I said, just half an hour go into that so you get into the groove of examination. Last tip, one more tip is there. Last tip, don't discuss your paper with anyone after that exam, and keep cottons, because you know someone may come and ask you what happened to this question, and maybe you lost or you made some mistake, and if you knew that, you'll just keep hounding you, and your next exam will get disturbed. So please don't discuss. Now discussing is not going to get you back, it's only going to make your other papers worse. It's always going to be in your mind. So even if they are saying keep cotton, yes, listening to them, but don't discuss anything. Keep listening as if you're listening. Yeah. So this is important, don't discuss. And one more thing here, sometimes there are 30 questions and the last question is printed on the last page. There are some students, the paper comes easy, they're so happy, oh, my paper is done, looking here and around this, my paper is so good. And when you come out and a friend asks you, what about the answer 30? Huh? Oh, 30 was there in the paper. Oh gosh. So please don't get excited even if it's easy paper. Even in cricket you might have seen, very easy balls batsmen get out. So don't get stumped or bowled out. Easy questions do trouble. Please be calm, read all the questions, mark it and do. And please don't do ekta kapoor. What? To be continued at the end. Don't try it like this. This is one more thing which happens on and off in the paper like this. Continued at the end. This continued at the end is very troublesome for examiner. Please don't do. Leave some space if you want to do. Don't try here and there. Continued at the end. There's no serial coming that you will continue in the next episode. It's only one time paper. Please don't do this continued at the end. And board gives you a lot of papers. So please don't try to do like this. There's a copy like this. They'll start here, come here, squeeze it. So you're not going to get a more marks if you have done in very less space. Please explain properly. What is the use going here and there? I mean, explain properly, express. What is the use of this? Squeezing it here, here, having tough time both for examiner and USL. So do that. So don't worry. These are some common mistakes which we do. And the simple tips which we have given: be cool, have a nice time, don't worry about the paper, don't think too much, and parents, please leave them now. There's nothing that can happen. Ek din pehle is going to happen. Just support them, give them morale boosting, don't be anxious. Seeing you, they will also get angry. And believe me, paper is not going to come tough. It's going to be a normal paper for 10th, because you need to see everybody while making, and stick to NCERT and things would be there. Right, I'm Keshav Agarwal, Exemplar Point, and if you like the tips which we have shared, you want to share any experience, any doubts, you can always call us at the numbers, we'll be there. And if you like our video, please subscribe it, and we'll keep posting you more of the videos. And all the best for your exam. Have a good time. Bye.